All right, everybody, we're gonna work on our name design. So I'm gonna show you the steps that you're gonna take to do that. So the couple of supplies that you're gonna need is you're gonna start with a square of white paper. Mine is 6 by 6. If you have one that's slightly smaller or slightly bigger, that's totally fine. You're gonna need a bigger piece of white paper that is bigger than your square. You will need a Sharpie, a pencil, a glue stick, and a pair of scissors. Okay, so now we're going to take out that smaller square of white paper and we're doing our name quilt. So we're going to be drawing our name, filling up the whole page, okay? You can decide what kind of letters you want to do, bubble letters, graffiti letters, very angular letters, whatever works for you. So take your pencil and you're going to start to draw your letters. I'm doing mine kind of on a diagonal because that's the way I want to do mine. You decide however you would like to do yours. Here is my finished pencil. Now we're going to move on to coloring it with Sharpie. So I'm going to take my Sharpie and I'm going to fill in all of my letters until they're completely colored in. And then I'm ready to cut. All right, so we're ready to cut. You might want to take out a ruler for this part because we're going to divide our paper in half. So I'm using my ruler. Mine is 6 inches, so 3 is half, and I'm going to do that down here again. Go ahead and draw my guideline, and then I need to divide these spaces in half, which is 1 1/2 and 1 1/2. Draw the line. Do the same thing on this side, so that I'm going to end up with is I want to end up with a grid. Okay, flip my paper, and now I'm going to draw in this direction. All right, so now I have my completed grid. Before I move on, I want to take my large piece of white paper and I want to lay my paper onto my larger white piece of paper. Hopefully you guys can see that. And I want to trace right around the edge of this before I cut. I want to do this because that will let me know the box that I need to re-glue my squares into. All right, so I've just traced along the edge so you can see the box. So now I have a box so that I can cut my squares and I can go ahead and start gluing. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to start cutting my squares. Okay, so I just finished cutting my last squares. I'm done with my scissors for now, and I've got all of the pieces of my name. So using the box that I drew, I'm gonna start to arrange the squares in a way that I like the way they look, okay? I'm gonna start in one corner, and I'm gonna move my way along. You can play around with this until you get something that you like. Sometimes students want to try to match up, if they can try to match up a shape that kind of flows into the next shape, that's totally up to you. But once I get things the way I want, now I'm ready to take out my glue stick and start to glue. So using my glue stick, and only put it up just a tiny bit, you're going to turn your paper over, you're going to put glue all the way to the edge, and then start by lining it up and gluing it down, okay? Then I'm gonna move on to my next square and keep going all the way until I have my whole square covered up with my little quilt squares. All right, so I just finished gluing this last quilt square, okay? You have just gone from this, your name, and you've abstracted it into this non-objective work of art that is like a quilt. Each square is like a quilt. You're now ready to begin either taking your colored pencils or markers and begin coloring in the white negative spaces, or to begin working on creating a border that represents you. Have fun!